Yeah, welcome you all.
Kindly
First of
mute
all,
all other
thank
speakers,
you all the
please.
participants for making this webinar series a tremendous successful. So I thank all the participants. And during our 50th webinar series, so the chief guest, Professor P. Lakshminarayan Garu, the registrar of the Usmania University, has suggested us to conduct some programs on mechatronics engineering. So as advised by him, today we are planning to conduct a webinar program on mechatronics engineering. So I welcome all the participants, especially today's chief guest, Sri G. Ramesh Garu, is our IET Governing Council member, and we can say the supporter of IET Hyderabad, the EC team, always behind us, and um, many Governing Council members also joined. Sri Dr. Harijinder Singh Job, the regular participant and helping the IET Hyderabad Center's webinar program. Senior person Narasimha Rao Garu, Sri Professor Murali sir, and many Christopher John, and many other participants who are with us in making this program. I welcome you all for this, sir, for making this program very successful. I welcome you all for this program on special topics, mechatronics engineering. So today's webinar speaker, I welcome especially the webinar speaker, Sri Dr. T. Muttur Malingam from SRM Institute of Engineering. So he is very kind of that he has accepted that when we have approached him that we are conducting a special program on mechatronics engineering in addition to routine programs of our computers and electronics. So very thankful to you, sir. So today we are conducting a program on from mechatronics approach basics to advancement. This is a topic he is going to cover. I'm very thankful to you, Dr. T. Muthurumalingam sir, for sparing your valuable time and coming forward to conduct our new topic, mechatronics engineering. So I thank Dr. Niranjan Prasad also, who has joined with us now. So I thank all the webinar participants for making this program very successful. I wish that the program will be useful to all the webinar participants, students, faculty, and other members. So with this, I request all the members, please do join every Sunday morning. This is the fixed time, 10:30, and make this program successful. Give wherever necessary the suggestions, what to be done and all, and what topic you are interested. So we are Hyderabad Center is there to work for the corporate members, students, and teachers. We'll go like this. We are planning to conduct this webinar series continuously like this only. So we'll take this forward. And with this, I thank all the participants again, and I close my speech. Thank you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for your nice welcome address. And now, just very brief about our IET Hyderabad Center. Our IET Hyderabad Center is the second largest center in India, and which is having the corporate members about 2,500 plus. And we are having 91 students forums. Recently, we are inaugurated the 91st student forum at Siddhartha Engineering College of Technology. And with this one, actually, we want to make it 100 members in the coming year, actually. So our IET Hyderabad Center is located in Usman University, and which is having a air-conditioned auditorium, capacity about 300 capacity, and also we have a conference hall, exhibition hall, and all laboratories, multimedia laboratories, and etc. We are continuously providing the guidance for the students coming from diploma. Recently, we have completed the 6 months internship for the various diploma students from various colleges, and also we are guiding the projects, mini and major projects for BE, BTech, and MTech and MCA students also. So thank you once again for this today's webinar. I welcome all of you for this today's webinar. And now I request to our Vice Chairman A.K. Sangamkar to introduce our today's chief guest, Sri G. Ramesh Garu. Sangamkar sir, unmute your mic. Yeah, proceed, sir.
So good morning to all of you. It's a privilege to introduce G. Ramesh, who is a veteran in IET. Mr. G. Ramesh, Chairman Membership Committee, 2021 and member of IET Governing Council member 2019 and 22, past chairman 2016 and 18, IET Bangalore Center, has been working in ISRO Satellite Center Bangalore since 1983 in the areas of quality control, quality assurance, system engineering, and project management. Currently, he is the head of Component Storage Division at UR Satellite Center. Mr. Ramesh was responsible for online quality control and quality assurance activities of solar panel fabrication process, certification and space qualification of hybrid micro circuits facilities like Siri Pilani, WIE Pune, HAL Hyderabad. He was project manager R&QA for ESROS C2 spacecraft in 1994. From 1996 to 2004, Mr. G. Ramesh worked for a strategic initiative of ISRO, DRDO, and DAE to establish a VLSI fab as its quality assurance and process standardization in charge. During the same period, Mr. Ramesh was assigned the activities of NASCENT, that is National Consortium of Smart Card Enterprises, as one of its project director. On return to ISRO, from 2004, Mr. Ramesh was assigned the responsibilities of realization of test and evaluation of electronics hardware of AstroSat spacecraft. AstroSat was launched in September 2015 and has been providing invaluable scientific data to the community of astronomy all over the world. Mr. Ramesh has been a student all through his life. After joining ISRO with a special diploma course in electronics under Indo-Soviet Credit Agreement 1966, Mr. Ramesh did his proficiency courses in personal management and behavioral sciences, financial management, other courses from Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore, grade IET from IET New Delhi, MTech in quality management from Birla Institute of Technology, and postgraduate diploma in management from Indira Gandhi National Open University. Currently pursuing master program in space and telecommunication law from Nalsar Law University, Hyderabad. Since 1985, Mr. Ramesh served IET Bangalore Center in various capacity as chairman, student chapter committee, member executive committee, honorary joint secretary, honorary secretary, and finally the chairman in 2016 to 2018. Mr. Ramesh was responsible for the successfully organizing and first ever international conference of IETE, that is IICI 18, on IoT, big data analysis, and 5G. Mr. Ramesh is a life fellow of IETE, life member of International Microelectronics and Packaging Society, IMAPS, and life member of many other societies like ASI, SWE, INSARAM, ISSE, and ISRS, etc. So with this background, I hand over the session to Secretary Nuli Namo Shivagaru. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. So now I request our today's chief guest, Ramesh Garu, who is a very regular member for all the webinars and also our advisor, our IIT Hyderabad Center. Thank you, sir, once again for sparing your valuable time, and I request now address for participants.
Thank you, Dr. Sangamakar, and then Dr. Namashivaya, sir. Honorable Speaker of today, Dr. T. Muthu Ramalingam, sir, from SRM University. In fact, SRM University, I have been attending many of the programs arranged by Sri Narayan Rao Garu, at the national level on very hot topics and all that. That way, SRM University is one of the pioneering university I come across. The chairman, the vice chairman, Dr. Sitaram Babu, chairman Gyaneshwar Ji, and Namashivaya, sir, and many other veterans. A very good morning to all of you. My roots are in Hyderabad Center. Actually, I am really grateful to late Sri Sudarshana Swami, sir, who has been motivating the students class after class to become the IET members and pursue the studies, the engineering studies while studying the diploma concurrently. Later, I came to know through one of my senior member from Hyderabad, Sri Dayanand Ji, who is the retired director of GSI, that Mr. Sudarshan Swami sir was the founder secretary of IET Hyderabad Center. So uh, I request IET Hyderabad Center to take a note of this, and then very soon you will be celebrating your Golden Jubilee celebrations as a mark of your 50th year of establishment of IET Bangalore, IET Hyderabad Center. I request to take a note and then recollect all those veterans who were responsible for founding the IET Hyderabad Center. Of course, one among them will be Mr. Mr. Madan Mohan sir. So, with the motivation given by Sudarshan Swami sir, I actually could start my engineering curriculum, studies. The first examination I have taken up in the College of Engineering, Osmania University in the December 1982. And I was very happy I could pass that exam before joining into ISRO. Okay. And and my connection, I was fortunate to have interaction with the veterans and pioneers of Hyderabad Center, like Sri Narayana Garu, Babu Rao, Lakshmi Narayana, and many other veterans, while I was, serving IET Bangalore Center as a secretary and all that. So, coming to today's topic, the mechatronics is a very important and pertinent topic. Without support of mechanical engineering, no other branch of engineering can sustain. I recall the statements given by late Professor B.S. Sonde in one of his talks on microelectronics and advancements of in microelectronics, as credited the as credited the developments in microelectronics to that of mechanical engineering. So, without mechanical engineering and without the photolithography masks that are developed that are to be realized is actually to define the finer pitch and finer dimensions and then cutting them off. The credit should be given to the mechanical engineering. Of course, today we are no more, may not be using the photolithography, but we may be using direct e-beam lithography and all those things. Even then, the mechanical systems, the stability, the the precision that with which the beam has to be moved is again depends on the advancements in the mechanical engineering only. Whether you call it as robotics or whatever it is, again, the mechanical engineering becomes a backbone for even the microelectronics. I recall in early 80s in Bangalore, there was a foundation called Network Technical Training Foundation, which was running a diploma courses in electronics and mechanical together, called as Mechatronics, which was a 4-year sandwich diploma course. And the students of this course used to be sold as hotcakes. And those days, veterans, those days, the great companies like Siemens and all those things, they used to recruit them. When we are talking of every system is a mechanical system. Any branch of the modern day technology fields like transportation, aviation, communication, computers, robotics cannot be imagined without the mechanical engineering support. It is relevant that every engineering student, irrespective of their specialization, should have some basic knowledge and understanding of all the disciplines like material science, strength of material, engineering material, fabrication, etc. and etc. But unfortunately, I am not seeing much of the students' participation in spite of tremendous efforts put by our organizers at Hyderabad and for this webinar series. In some curriculums under the subject of production engineering, they teach various facets of engineering like quality, reliability, reproducibility, safety, which are all embedded in it should be embedded at the time of design, and they call it as DFX. That is design for reliability, design for reproducibility, design for serviceability, design for maintainability, design for safety, or whatever we are talking. All the branches are interrelated, and the basic, the connectivity should be made aware to all the students so that they can uh, excel in the chosen field of specialization. Even when we are studying of the reliability of the predictions and then the studies, even the mill standards, the basic data is derived from the mechanical engineering, because the microelectronics or whatever, it is not so much the field data is available. The field data used to be taken from the mechanical engineering subjects. So in our organization like ISRO, maybe a DRDO kind of thing, all the branches of the engineering has got importance, and the mechanical systems comprising of structure, thermal engineering, mechanisms have equal importance and relevance, like communication engineering or control engineering or data handling or power systems. The structure, when I'm talking the structure, the satellite structure, which basically defines the shape and size of a satellite, is made with the panels made from aluminum honeycomb structure as top deck, bottom deck, and then the side panels on which the packages are mounted. And it is like, mounting, if you take a room, in the room we are like putting our posters and all those things, photographs or whatever it is, we put all kinds of satellite packages, because space is premium and every bit of inch of the space need to be optimized and utilized. So when we are talking about all these kind of things, again, the mechanical engineering, the expertise in the mechanical systems is paramount important and is very important, uh, because when we talk about our electronics systems, in our electronic systems we talk about the resonances and natural frequencies when we go about higher and higher frequencies, because when we go at higher frequencies, resistor will not act as a resistor, and capacitor will start as an inductor or whatever the things. Those are similar. The things are observed in the mechanical systems also. There is what is known as, when we put the two mechanical systems coupled together, then there develops to be the natural frequencies, and these natural frequencies, if they are not studied and if they're not designed properly, whatever the system, either a satellite or rocket, during the, or even a missile at the time of the launching, it itself may get destroyed because of the mechanical disalignments. So the point, what we are saying is that it's not only the today's topic is very important and pertinent topic as mechatronics, and also not only mechanical engineering, even other engineerings, or even automotive electronics, or whatever it is, every branch of engineering, when integrated together, only we can realize today's state of art systems. Then then when the another small point I would just like to share with all of you, the experts and the students here, is that, see, the space, when we talk about the space environment is very harsh. The excursions are maybe something like minus 100 degrees to 150 degrees centigrade. And all of us know that no systems can work at this temperature, but still the satellites are working. The satellites are working because of this. Again, the point is the thermal engineering or the thermal systems which is coming into the place. The thermal systems is again a branch of the mechanical systems, and the thermal blankets, whatever they are made, some of the systems are like kept like we are keeping a baby in the incubator kind of thing. The electronic systems are kept at the temperatures, the comfortable temperatures, maybe mm, 15 degrees to 30 degrees kind of thing. But when outside temperatures are so extreme, the thermal systems, the thermal blankets, what designed, which allow the internal temperature to be dissipated, and then the outer temperature is not allowed to come inside. So like that, if you go on talking, there are so many facets of the mechanical engineering, even the transistor when we make in the transistor, the chip part is only 1 centimeter, maybe 1 mm by 1 mm. But if you see the transistor with the packaging and all those things, the package, the mechanical package that gives the environmental protection and the safety to all our electronic systems. So with these few words of the introduction, I would not like to stand. It's been today's expert speaker, Dr. Muthu Ramalingam sir, and then all of you. And at this juncture, I also had been given a pleasant duty and accorded a privilege for me to release today's the newsletter, the 40th volume of IETE Hyderabad newsletter, issue number 6, covering May to June 2021. So may I request somebody to display the newsletter, please? Thank you. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you, sir, for your nice addressing to our participants, and also very kind enough to release our newsletter. Our newsletter, bi-monthly newsletter, is volume number 6, comprising the month of May and June. Sir. So totally it is a comprising of 8 pages, and also all the members are requested to send any articles, any technical articles of the interest. Please kindly send to the mail so that you can publish our newsletter. Thank you, sir. Very soon we will circulate all this newsletter to all the members. And now I request our EC member and chairman, Women Empowerment Committee, Srimati Sanjay Madam, to read out the profile of today's speaker, Dr. T. Muthu Ramalingam garu.
Thank you, sir. A very good morning, one and all. So, take the privilege to introduce today's speaker, Dr. T. Muthu Ramalingam ji. Dr. T. Muthu Ramalingam, sir, is Associate Professor, Department of Mechatronics Engineering, Kattan-Kulathur Campus, SRM Institute of Science and Technology, Chennai, Tamil Nadu. Sir has completed his PhD in Mechanical Discipline from Madras Institute of Technology, affiliated to Anna University, and PG from Mechatronics from Madras Institute of Technology, Anna University. And his research indices are Scopus, 88 documents are there, citations 1,222 citations with H index 22, Google Scholar 103 documents with 578 citations with a H index of 25. And sir is classified as top 2% scientist in worldwide by Stanford University, USA. And he represented Mechatronics Engineering Department and SRM IST in terms of a keynote speech, session chair, and paper presentation in many international conferences and competitions held in abroad countries such as USA, Netherlands, Turkey, Greece, Malaysia, Singapore, Thailand, and Vietnam. And he's received Outstanding Reviewer Award from the Archives of Civil and Mechanical Engineering by Elsewhere 2017. And he's a Best Research Paper Award at ICMMC 2014, Singapore. And sir is also editorial board member for Topic Editor in Materials, MDPI, with the impact factor 3.057, and technical editor at SAE Tech Papers SNIP 0.491. And sir was also chairman for various conferences in abroad. To name few, he was the chairman for ICERA 2019, conducted by TNUT, Hanoi, Vietnam, and ATINER 2019, conducted by ATINER, Athens, Greece, ICMME 2015, conducted by IPN Thailand, chapter at Bangkok, Thailand. And also sir received best paper awards in few national conferences. So he got best research paper award at IRMAS 2021 Chennai, India, and best research award at ICEMMM 2018 Chennai, best research paper award at RIPE 2017 Chennai, best research paper award at NCARMS 2016 Chennai. So these are the few papers, best papers awarded by sir. So thank you, sir, for giving me this opportunity. So with this brief introduction, I'll hand over the session to you, Namashvaya, sir. If not, we request the speaker, Dr. Muthuramalingaji, please start the session, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
Oh, thanks for the nice presentation, introduction about me, madam. So, good morning to one and all. Myself, Muthuramalinga from Department of Mechatronics Engineering, SR Institute of Science and Technology. At the outset, I would like to thank IET Hyderabad chapter for giving me this chance, and kindly allow me to turn off my video to get a stable internet connection. Shall I verify whether my screen is visible or not?
Yes, sir. It's visible, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. So once again, good morning to one and all. Today we are going to discuss about mechatronics basics to advancement. Actually, I have been given 60 minutes. So within 60 minutes to explain about mechatronics, it will be a very, very tedious process. So as much as possible, what are the things that I can able to tell the essence of mechatronics, I can able to provide. This is our campus, SR Institute of Science and Technology, which has been started in 1985. The university consists of faculty of engineering, faculty of medical, faculty of agriculture, arts and science, and law. Many faculties are available. Totally, there are 30,000 students are studying, and we faculty members are totally 4,000 persons. Regarding our Department of Mechatronics Engineering, which has been started before 16 years. Now the Department of Mechatronics Engineering running a 2 BTech program. One is BTech in Mechatronics and BTech in Mechatronics specialization in robotics, and MTech Mechatronics, and also PhD Mechatronics and postdoctoral in Mechatronics. So with this introduction, let me move to the topic that we are aiming today. Actually, there are very eminent persons are available with this group. However, there are some persons are available students. So to get a clarity for them, I am need to teach some basics. So kindly excuse me. So generally, the people may ask a question: what do you mean by engineering? Because many students who have studied the 4 years of completing 4 years of engineering, if they ask what do you mean by engineering, they are hesitating to explain those things. So generally, what do you mean by engineering is that general engineering is business, simple in terms business. I need to make one product, then I need to sell it, then I need to get profit. As much as possible, I need to increase my profit, or else I need to sustain my larger profit. How it is possible? For that, always my product should be better than my competitor product. There should be some uniqueness should be maintained of my product with better than others. So in this perspective, we can be able to define the engineering as product development and also product enhancement. But simple in terms, engineering is business. That's all. It may be academic, it may be R&D, it may be core sectors, it may be software. Wherever it go, we need to get some money. Then next part is coming into the picture. Why mechatronics? What is the need of inventing mechatronics? So we are saying is product development. So as we know very well is that product is nothing but which need a discipline knowledge of many various sub-disciplines. Just maybe mechanical, it may be electrical, it may be electronics, it may be computer science, whatever it may be. Each and every discipline person, they will do their own work. Say for an example, if it is electrical people, they will do electrical oriented component which is involved in any product, whereas electronics will do electronics work, mechanical people will do mechanical design. However, doing the final product, there should be some people is needed. They need to integrate all such things. They need not to know the each and every corner of each and every discipline. However, they need to know the basics, essence of each and every engineering discipline. For engineer, mechanical, okay, this is the essence that I know. This is electronics, this is the essence I know. That's essence itself enough. However, the confined knowledge or a very detailed knowledge in perspective, it's not needed. Say for example, in case of product development assembly. In such case, mechatronics coming into the picture. So as we know, so as we know, there is terms of mechatronics. So mechatronics, generally the term indicates a mechanical plus electronics. What do you mean by mechatronics? Generally people will say it's a combination of mechanical, electrical, electronics, computer science, blah, 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 automotive, aerospace, medical, everything comprised form is known as mechatronics. Yeah, obviously it's a combination of different disciplines. However, the main important definition of mechatronics is not this thing, it is this one. Integration. There should be some person needed. They need to integrate the different engineering discipline. It not only combination, how to integrate, because each and every engineering discipline having their own energy. The mechanic, if I want to connect a mechanical with electronics, simply I cannot integrate, because both are different form of energy. So I need to introduce something which should integrate both mechanical with electronics. So in such a case only the mechatronics engineering is coming into the picture, and it is evolving in the right manner. What about the evolvement of mechatronics? So before 15 years, frankly speaking, last 20 years, the people in all industries, they are using mechatronics, but without knowing the name is mechatronics, they are using mechatronics. Even before 15 years, if anybody will ask go for mechatronics, the people will ask the question, what do you mean by mechatronics? Even say for in my own experiences, if I can say, while I'm doing my BTech and MTech in mechatronics, whenever we are approaching company during the placement, we will go, sir, you are not allowing us, sir. The industry people will ask, which department you belongs to? We will used to say, sir, mechatronics. The first and foremost primary question that I have faced is that, we have faced is that, what do you mean by mechatronics? There was some condition was that once upon a time, but now the trend is getting changed. The industry people, they are know and they are very much intended to learn mechatronics. Even the industry people, those who are coming for placement also, now they are giving more importance for mechatronics. For your kind information, before the COVID issue, there was a placement is happened for placement. You know, out of 100% of placement, 80% of from core companies. You know, those companies came to recruit mechatronics. Example, Siemens, Ucol Fuel, Blue Binaries, Keynes Microscope, and some other company. They told that we need mechatronics people. Why it happened means now the industry people realized that the need of mechatronics. Now, how we can define mechatronics? Mechatronics may be, some people may say it's a multidisciplinary, or some people may say it's interdisciplinary. What do you mean by multidisciplinary? It is a combination of the different departments. That itself enough. However, it's not. It is also interdisciplinary. Interdisciplinary means combination of two departments which develop a new technology. Even here you may be able to see that here. This is control system, a digital control system, control electronics. Everything is combined together. This particular part which belongs to control engineering as well as control system and digital control system. It is interdisciplinary. The combinations of the department which develops a newer perspective, whereas multidisciplinary just take essence, just take integrate. So mechatronics department is multidisciplinary as well as interdisciplinary also in some cases. So this is the definitions for the mechatronics which has been provided by various institutes interdisciplinary by applied mechatronics association of smart electrical mechanical system by Chicago State University field of study that combines fundamentals mechanical, electrical and computer engineering. Then Clemson University, they are giving their own explanation, the blending of software and hardware for design and analysis of advanced control techniques. The design with the Microprocessor Mechanical Engineering Association, they are taking that science that integrates mechanical devices with electronics. While you analyzing each and every different definition, but the final concept is only one thing, is that it is integration. So if anybody will ask a question, what do you mean by mechatronics? Instead of saying it's a combination of mechanical, electrical, electronics, we can say that it is integration, integrating the different engineering disciplines. And this is the French standard. Actually, now on this only is mostly accepted by the mechatronics engineering by French standard NFE 012. They are telling that it is synergetic integration of mechanics, electronics, control theory, and computer science within the product design. Actually, this is important. Integration is one keyword, and second keyword is product design. I'm integrating for getting some product in order to improve and optimize its functionality. As we already discussed, mechatronics is not pure multidisciplinary and also the interdisciplinary. What's the main difference between the only multidisciplinary means? Multidisciplinary is a sequential approach. First complete the mechanical, then complete electrical actuator, then go for electronics, then go for coding. There's a sequence for each and every different blocks. However, mechatronics is a concurrent. Parallelly, I need to do the entire thing. So generally, the sequential approach based mechatronics, I can term as a basics. Whereas concurrent based mechatronics, I can term as a advanced mechatronics. General terms. It's not approved or approved definitions. It unofficial definitions for basic mechatronics and advanced mechatronics by the mechatronics engineers. And also, if anybody will ask what do you mean mechatronics, they are aiming only this thing, which is called robotics. They are dealing only with robotics, but not only robotics, automotive electronics, aquatronics, avionics, manufacturing automation, all are coming under mechatronics. However, as we know, out of these 5 categories, the robotics now have a very unique as well as a very predominant importance among the technical fraternities. Out of these 5, my specialized area, this thing is a manufacturing automation. And people going into the further to have interest on some students, I want to show some video. You just see the manufacturing automation. In manufacturing perspective, in machining side, what are all the mechatronics knowledge is needed? You just see that. Here, this process not only containing the movement of the tool and also tool trajectory for making one engraving where the tool has to move, in which way it need to move, what speed it need to move, what should be the position. Each and everything is being controlled by the mechatronics approach only. And let me show about the Boston Dynamics robot animal. You just imagine the stability. Actually, it is a 10 years of hard work of Boston Dynamics. And one more important example, which is told by even our today guest, Professor Ramesh told. You just see that.
A shuttle robotic arm. It's
Actually, you know very well, International Space Station. In International Space Station, what are all the things which is required for the astronauts available in the spacecraft? They will send through a vehicle. Those vehicle will be grabbed by the robotics arm, which will be in the outside of the International South Station. They will take it and they will observe it.
longer. It has extra joints, and I'll talk more about those joints. And it also has the ability to move on the mobile base system back and forth on the truss and to do what we call a walk off, which is to go from one power data grapple fixture to another power data grapple fixture and basically act like a little inchworm. Grapple one, release the other, grapple again. The station arm has a shoulder, but that shoulder looks exactly like the wrist. In other words, at one end is exactly like the other, and both are able to do roll, pitch, and yaw. That makes it so that the arm can basically go in a big 360. The elbow, unlike my elbow, can actually go all the way, flip through the straight, and come back on the other side. Now, this robotic workstation uses a lot of monitors because there are not windows that you can do your robotics out of. And we also use computers. Some of them are used for our procedures. Some are used for additional views. And some are used for a computer program that is basically like a virtual reality.
Okay. So those are some real-time example where mechatronics is being existed. So mechatronics is often involve automated control of complex electromechanical system. So rethinking of a machine component design by use of mechanics, electronics, and computation. And this is the main important characteristics of the mechatronics is that reconfigurability. It can be again same as some modularity. Even we have this concept modularity kitchen, modular kitchen. So modular kitchen is nothing but whenever I want to change the interior decoration of the kitchen, I can able to change. I can upgrade whenever some new technology is coming. I can upgrade myself, upgrade the kitchen. Like the same way, as we know, any product, based on the customer requirement, every year the product need is being changed. Every year, even the iPhone, every year they are releasing new edition. How they are inventing new editions means they will keep on saying the customer requirement. They will get the feedback from the existing user. They will get the feedback from them. What are the things still we need to change? Like that, they will ask the customer. Any customer is the end user. They will let them know, okay, these are things are still we need. So based on the need of the customer, every time I need to upgrade. So that is known as a modularity, as reconfigurability. If we have designed any product is based on completely mechatronics means the major advantage is that it will have definitely a reconfigurability ability. And where we are using the mechatronic system, as you said, whenever there is a complex electromechanical system or used, we need to go for a mechatronic system. Say for example, the conventional one, the timing belt in automobile. The timing belt is mechanically synchronized and supervises the operation. Whereas now many people, they are attempting replacing the timing belt with a software itself, especially for the automated car. The automated car, now many people are doing, and here this active suspension. So active suspension, passive suspension exhibits the same characteristics which cannot offer a optimal trade-off for varying a road profile. Now people, they are moving towards active suspension. Even one of my PhD scholar, now he is doing a mechatronic assisted active suspension system in collaboration with the Zhejiang University, China. We are getting some very favorable results. And these are all the mechatronics applications. It's from micro to macro. From micro to macro level, there is speed which is available. The tool side, automoko focus camera, gear, micro MEMS technology, machining technology, car, sled bomber, high speed train. Wherever you go now, the mechatronics coming into the picture. In micro machining, this is a desktop sized factory. It's a machine, the CNC machine drilling image. It's a desktop type factory which can build a small part with a small factory. So if I need to make a very small minor product, why I need to spend a course of amount to purchase a full CNC machine? Instead of that, why I can't purchase a small desktop size factory? By using those concepts, this is coming into a picture, and this is a micro factory drilling unit. It's a drilling unit. Actually, it may look like a motor, but actually it's a drilling unit. We may see that a larger drill available in the conventional lathe, but using piezo, why we can't make a micro factory drilling unit in that concept? This part thing. Transportation. Say, most of the people, if those who are studying mechatronics, all the year, at least one students, they are attempting this particular project as a major project, making Segway. Making Segway easy, but however, the maintaining the stability is a matter of fact. Even many students are still attempting why we can't change the control algorithm to give the better way. Still, the many students are working on it. And as you know, the car, brake-by-wire, steer-by-wire, integrated vehicle dynamics, camless engines, integrated starter and alternator. Now they want to reduce the effort made by the driver and give the very sophisticated to the passengers. Now they are implementing. And this is a Maglev train, which is in Japan. It's a fully automated train, which can run 574 kilometers per hour. And this is the service robotics, the defense side, EVS in the Boston Dynamics, which can carry 340 pounds and which can run 4 miles per hour, climb, run, walk. Even we have seen the video what it can do. Not only in the bigger applications, even the service robot, even for vacuum floors, you can able to see the clean cutter and vacuum floors. Nowadays, the automated, even now it is available in the market itself. Automated mechatronic assisted vacuum floor. You need to purchase, simply we need to keep it on floor. Whenever it senses any dust, it will absorb, it will turn on, it will absorb the dust. Now I think it is many homes they are having this automated vacuum floor. And in medical field, the prosthetic arm, by replacing the hand and leg, even one of my MTech students who did magnetorheological fluid based prosthetic arm, it was working well. Now we are doing some auto tuning. Once it will go better, even we are ready. We would like to apply for the pattern also. And this is different side, Tron, Bombsletter. There also we are using mechatronics and automatic construction. Nowadays, the automatic JCB engines, which is available in the Europe countries. Why we want to display all the thing means now the mechatronics lies between from vacuum cleaner to space. And this is the robot that very well. The NASA now recently they have vehicles, send the vehicle to Mars and underwater robot. And this is the one that we have seen, the International Space Station robot. Here, how the mechatronics, as Ramesh sir pointed out, here not only electronics is a matter of fact, the choosing the material is also a matter of fact. The material withstand all the possible difficulty it is facing, all the constraint it is facing. Say for example, here take the underwater robot. As you know very well, in underwater, for every 10 meter flow, 1 bar of pressure will increase. Say for example, from the ground level to we are making one underwater robot to sink in the water means it will experience 1 bar plus 1 bar, 2 bar. If 20 meters means 3 bar. 40 meters, 4 bar, 50 meters, 5 bar, 60 meters, 7 bar. So if it need to travel 1 kilometer from the ground means it need to experience 100 bar, more of 100 bar. So 100, withstanding 100 bar of pressure is not that much easy. If we want to explore it, we want to take the minerals which is available in the sea means no other way human cannot go. Only thing is that the underwater vehicle robot has to go. But thing is that here not only the integration, the material part will also coming into the picture. Even the NIOT, National Institute of Ozone Technology in Chennai, they are attempting finding possible new materials in it. Now it is a very basic thing. What do you mean by mechatronics? Generally, mechatronics consists of mechanical systems, electrical system, information system. It indicates all the electronics as well as control instruments and the coding computer systems. So any mechatronic system will consist of mechanical system, electrical system, information system, and the computer systems. However, we are mostly dealing with modeling, simulation, automated control, and numerical control. Why means if you want to upgrade the mechanical system, it is not a mechatronics engineer duty, it is a mechanical engineer duty. If you want to upgrade the electrical engineering, that is electrical engineering duty. If you want to change anything in information system, it's an easy engineer's duty. Here, computer science will do that. Whereas the modeling and simulations are automatic. For doing this thing, we have to know the each and every essence of each and every system. So most of the mechatronics will be hired by the core companies to work in these areas only: modeling or simulation, analysis, and automatic control and numerical control for optimization. So in general, in term, mechatronics is nothing but a mechanical system, a electrical system, and one computer system. Since a computer deal with only digital, whereas here is analog, so digital to analog and analog to digital converter will be implemented, and electromechanical and real facing. So simply in terms, this can be termed as basics mechatronics. Even our title of today's topic itself, basics to advancement. So mechanical, electrical, computer science, some real-time interfacing with actuator, sensor, digital to analog, analog to digital. We can term this thing as a basics mechatronics. But apart from this, we are implementing some simulation and modeling, automated and optimization. That means the information systems, more information system in terms of artificial intelligence also. We can term as the advanced mechatronics. Regarding actuator, as you know very well, there are 4 conventional actuators. One is hydraulic actuator, pneumatic actuators, mechanics is a mechanical actuators, and electrical motor. But if we want to have a very precise movement of the any system, say for example, I need to get 1 micro movement, 1 micrometer movement. 1 micrometer means our human hair is 20 micrometer. Average thickness is 20 micrometer. We need to cut our human hair into 20 pieces. You know, the 1 small inch, 1 small pieces. You just imagine the thickness. I'm telling you for students, not for the eminent professors. For students, that very minimum level of movement you need to obtain. Is it possible using hydraulic or pneumatic or electrical or mechanics? Not at all possible. Then how the people are doing it means, now we are entering into the new era, which is called smart actuators. It may be piezo, it may be safe memory alloy, it may be electroactive polymer switch. You know, it may be that what to call the microcrystal accelerator. You know, we need to go for a smart actuator. However, the controlling of the movement of the smart actuator is not that much easy. The signal conditioning which need to be provided for the smart controllers is a PhD work. Even in our department also, there are 4 students. They are doing a research on how to improve the signal conditioning for a smart actuator. I think 2 persons are doing with a safe memory alloy, 1 person is doing with a electric, 1 person is doing with electroactive polymer switch. Okay, so these are a very conventional hydraulic, pneumatic, mechanical, electrical. Whereas apart from the conventional, unconventional thing is new thing is that smart actuator. So why we need to study this thing means, for example, we are as a manufacturing or production engineer means, whenever we want to implement some actuators means, we need to know which actuator had to be needed. Whether I need to implement hydraulic or pneumatic or electrical or simple mechanism. So for the purpose, I need to know the advantage and disadvantage and comparison of each and every actuator. So generally in terms, people will say, whenever I want to go for a very high torque, very high torque, go for hydraulics. I need a clean environment, go for pneumatics. I need a less cost, go for mechanics. I need a high power with a somewhat compromised level of cleanliness. Okay, go for electrical. I need very high precision of movement, go for smart actuators. So in this way only we need to select actuator. However, first of all, we need to know the comparison of each and every actuators. And we can do the direction control, we can do the speed control, we can do the position control. Whereas among these 3, those who want to be really a mechatronics engineer, my kind advice, concentrate for here. Nowadays, the plenty of funding in international, plenty of funding is being provided for this particular technology, which is called a position control. if you can able to get a micron level of movement with a precise level, okay, we can apply for many international funding. They are ready to fill it, but they are expecting whether we have caliber or not in that manner only. And open loop, closed loop, adaptive control. I hope so that I think most of your electronics engineers, you know the difference between these two. Simply in terms, it don't have any feedback. Closed loop with feedback. Main difference between these two is that here the controller, say for example, take an example, your air conditioning. We are fixing 24 degree or 23 degree means unless the temperature reaches 22 degree, the compressor will be turned on. We will receive the cool air. Once it reaches 20 degree, automatically compressor will be cut off. So now we are only fixing the required output, that's 23 degree or 24 degree. So in engineering perspective, we use the term as a control law, the required output. So control law is fixed by the manual, is a closed loop. At the same time, control law is fixed by the system itself. It is adaptive control. Say for an example, you are fixing 23 degree or 24 degree. You just assume a case, the air conditioning itself, based on the environment, it changes its control law. It is summer. Itself, your work is just to turn on the AC. It will sense what is the external environment. Oh, it's a summer. Okay, go for 16 degree. Oh, it's a too rainy. Okay, go for 28. It's too cold. Okay, wait and 30. You just assume that is adaptive based on the environment. Once again, I am telling this thing for the students, not for the eminent persons. Okay. And simulation is execution of the model. As I already told, if we adopt some simulation optimization algorithm, and then only the basics mechatronics can be converted into advancement computing, as we know very well. So simulation is execution of a model that can be manipulated logically to decide how the physical world works. Simulation sometimes answer question. If not, you need to wait more time. Say for example, Sir Isaac Newton. The apple accelerates. Why? Maybe a force that acts on everything. He don't have a clarity. But thing is that he take this assumption, he was working for nearly 10 years. I read some article, it said that after 10 years only he came to the conclusion, okay, there should be something gravity available. But thing is that if it's simulation means it answers question immediately. It saves your, it reduces your time effort. And simulation brings a model to the life. Generally what we will do in simulation is, simulation is a process of solving the model and is performed on a computer. The process of the simulation can be divided into 3 sections. One is initialization, iteration, and termination. So in mechatronics, after simulation done, we need to do the optimization. What do you mean by optimization? Means getting the better. What are all the possible input combination I can get the requireable or better output? That is optimization. So optimization is primarily used to establish the optimal system configuration, when my system will work in a proper way. What are the input parameters to be set by the operator? Even though it is automatic control, what are the parameters need to be set during operation? That will be determined by the optimization. Say for example, optimization of identification of optical trajectory. There are some object. Let me take one small point. Say for example, some vehicle is here. It need to move here. Okay. Now I need to find the optimal trajectory. So as per the normal way, simply it can go the straight line. Assume in between these two vehicles, there are some obstacles are available. So what it will do? It will go. Okay, there are some obstacles, so I need to take a divergence, then I need to come. Here also maybe some obstacle may be available. So based on the obstacle available, you need to take on. So optimal trajectory, the robot has to itself is decided which one will be optimal without affecting the vehicle. I can move from point A to point B. That is simple in term trajectory. Even in machine tool perspective, I need to write a term, engrave a term A over a specimen means in which way the tool has to move, what speed it need to move. If it's move fastly means the A will not be A, just like what I have written. It's not a na. It's a proper A means it will be a very good. Actually, okay. Compare these two. I think this is somewhat better. So which A will I need to go? Maybe I can. I am writing two optical trajectory point. One is writing A. One is writing A like this. Obviously, this is the good trajectory compared with the previous one. So that will be decided by the online simulation as well as the optimization tool. So general in terms, as I already told, a process, a sensor will let you know whether the required output is being happened or not. If there is something different, it will go and let you know the computer, okay, something different. So it will actuate based on that. So now it is a next generation, it's a process knowledge. Without operator itself, how the machine can work, that is artificial intelligence. Now we are entering into the next level. What is that? I think most of you hear this term, IoT, Internet of Things, Industry 4.0. So it is previous thing. Then we implemented artificial intelligence. Even more than artificial intelligence, now we are entering into the Industry 4.0 concept. I think nowadays most of the industries, they are willing to implement the Industry 4.0 concept in their concern. And before developing one product, first of all, I need to make a simulation analysis, as we said. What are they? So this is a general design that we are using in the mechatronics. It's a model-based design. I will convert the product which I need to develop into some mathematical equation. Then I will develop the model. Then I will check whether the system will work in a requireable limit with the tolerance or not. So for that, I need to get the model of that particular component. If I want to make a electrical active suspension system means, first of all, I need to derive the equation which is behind an active suspension system. We have to make a Simulink or Simscape model. We need to check whether it is providing the proper output or not. Then we can go for the deployment. So it is a generic approach, is a model-based design approach, which has the same philosophy as mechatronics, but not limited by the constituent disciplines. I think model-based design not only using mechatronics, I think nowadays all the engineering discipline, they are moving towards a model-based design. So model-based design is a mathematically a visual method of addressing problem associated with the designing complex control, signal processing and communication systems. So what do you mean by TRL? Technology readiness level. Generally, for before making any product, this will be idea to final product. The number one is the idea. Why I can't make the product. Number 9 is the real product. So before making the final product from the idea, it need to cross totally 3 phases. What are all the phases? A research, then development, then deployment. So in research, I am giving some idea whether it will be work or not. For that, I need to do a detailed research. So basic principles, observe, then technology we are formulating, the experimental proof of concept we need to do. Once it is convinced here itself, then only we need to go for development. Even in the development, we will not go directly product. First of all, we need to make some prototype. When we need to validate the prototype. If prototype is working well, then we will go for the relevant environment. That means here maybe some 2 prototype. Here there's some largest sample of prototype. Then only a system prototype demonstration in operation environment, system complete qualified. finally only deployment will be employed. It's not only for mechanical engineering. For any product, before implementation or deployment, you need to cross these 9. Even whenever we are applying for some patent or device development program in central government, as you know very well, they are implementing the device development program. If you are giving some idea, you give a fund, means they will ask you whether in which stage you are in. They will ask the TRL, whether you are in research phase or development phase or deployment phase. So now we need to relate those TRL with the mechatronics. So now we are modeling. Say for example, I need to make some active suspension system. First of all, I need to identify what is the need. Then conceptually, design need to be made. That means some functional specification, assumed functional specification. Then third point is basics, modular mathematical modeling. That means mathematical modeling of a particular system. Then add sensor and actuators. Then detailed mathematical model exact. Here it may contains only with the mechanical blocks or physical system. But here, after incorporating sensor and actuators, a detailed mathematical modeling is done. That will be checked. Then I need to control system design. That will be checked. Say for an example, I am using Simscape. I think as electronics engineering, you know the difference between the Simulink and the Simscape. So Simulink, which is deal with only a mathematical equation. It will not consider any physical model. Whereas in Simscape, there is already some physical models being incorporated based on the mathematical equation. We need not to write our own mathematical modeling. As you know very well, if I want to make a motor, if it is Simulink, means I need to take equations which is big in DC motor, I need to do blah 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 thing, then I will do that. If it is Simscape, means we can directly take the electromechanical devices option from the library, we can do whatever we want. That you know very well. So in Simscape and Simulink, we are doing many things, and I am implementing my control algorithm. Then I am checking whether virtually is working or not. Virtually, I am working whether it is working or not. That is known as SILMIL. That means model in loop system, software in loop system. What it will do? It will model. I will convert some mathematical modeling of the system. Then while I incorporate my control algorithm, then I will check whether the coding, the imparted coding is working or not. That will be termed as software in loop system. Previously, what they will do, once you are getting some favorable result, they will go for a prototype. They will go for prototype. Once prototype is working, then they will go for deployment. Once I am saying, previously, first they will do the model in loop system. Then they will do a SIL, software in loop system. They will check the coding. Then they will make the prototype. If prototype is working, they will go for deployment. Actually, why we are doing the simulation is that, as we know, engineering is a product. That means previously there was trial and error method. There was some concept will coming into the mind. I will make the model. I will make the prototype. I will make the final model. It won't work. What I will do? Again, I need to start from the first. Again, I will do some smaller changes. Then I will check whether it's working or not. Make the prototype. Then I will go. So the number of attempts for trial and error is more. Is without simulation. So in that perspective only, this concept coming into the picture. That means a model include basically a simulation. Why the simulation coming into the picture? To reduce the number of attempts we need to make for making the product. To reduce the expenses which occurred during the prototype model development. That is the advantage of simulation. So one simulation, we are getting better results. We are making prototype and final deployment. Even that time also, the industry found that there was some 20 to 30% of wastages. That means the model which is giving a good result in simulation, why I convert into prototype, it's not working due to the non-linearity of the system, stochastic nature of the system. Any system is non-linear. Most of the system are non-linear. But if non-linear is more means, even though the system which is working or which is giving a better output in the simulation environment, not providing a proper and good results during the deployment. So to avoid such a conflict only, the new concept which is arises, that is known as HIL. That means hardware in loop. What do you mean by hardware in loop? Means hardware in loop system is a hardware device in which, using the hardware available in the kit, I can configure the real system. If I want to check a motor, means I need to go for a motor. The same, I can configure with the hardware, electronics hardware available in the HIL unit. I can check now working or not. Then I can go for prototype. Then I can go for deployment. So phase by phase, previously idea, directly prototype, directly not working. What happened? Too much of wastages. Now they have implemented the SIL, that means software in loop system. Now what they are doing? First they are checking whether simulation is working or not. Working, then go for prototype, then go for deployment. And that time also wastage is 20%. Now third generation, they are coming, introduce HIL confidence. That means first design, then go for the simulation. If simulation is working, go for HIL. HIL is nothing but there is a hardware kit in which I can configure the real system. Then I can check. Even there it working well, then I will go for prototype. Then I will go for the deployment. So mostly many HIL kit available. In SRM University, we are using this kit which is called DSpace. I think you know very well about the kit, DSpace. So DSpace kit is implemented for doing HIL simulation only. Even we can use the NI instrument also. However, in my laboratory, we are mostly utilizing DSpace only. Now I understand that you will realize the difference between what is the need of model in loop, what is the need of software in loop, what is the need of hardware in loop, and human machine interface. So human machine interface is nothing but a facility by which the bidirectional transfer of information required for the system operation from machine to human as well as human to machine. So these flows are independent yet linked. So generally the human will communicate with the machine or machine with the human in terms of some discrete signal, because machine is basically a digital machine which can able to get only digital signal only, whereas the human can be able to understand from some alphanumeric diagrams or animated diagrams from the machine. So what are all the signal transmission? Only stochastic, optics, haptics also. I think now we are going to the new era of haptics technology, bionics, motion, and even the autofocus camera. Whenever you are raising hand and simply saying some Tata, it will take a snapshot. That is a motion based. And tactile sensor. And now in one of my research scholar working in Vistia and Electron, now he is working in this tactile sensor, and he got some favorable good results. And this is one way of telling. First, generally, what do you may model? I need to make a mathematical modeling. I need to make some model, that is MIL. After MIL, I will impart some coding, whether it's working or not. That is known as SIL. That means software in loop system. It is working better, then go for hardware in loop system. So hardware in loop is a controller which contains field programmable gate array based processor, which is now interfaced to the physical plant by connecting the input and say at the right point of the sensor and transducer. Okay, so out of these MIL, SIL, and HIL, It's having a really a valid need of people. Even whenever we are visiting some companies, they are looking for a mechatronics engineers. They are expecting mechatronics engineers. They need to know basically MIL and HIL. At least MIL they are requiring. That means I'm giving some system means they are expecting that the students has to know right or find the equation for the same system. If the students know those things, okay, I can train them in other aspects, just like a software in loop or a PIL in loop, HIL loop. I can train the students. However, I need to get a students to have the knowledge on making the model-based design. Nowadays, plenty of industries they are looking for this type of MIL only. I think, yeah, exactly 20 years. 62 minutes. Okay, I take it 2 minutes more, I guess. So, okay, I'm sorry. And remember the thing, I need to tell this thing. As per the research flip payment, say there is a lot of difference between knowing something and knowing the name of the something. So always knowing the something, not the name of the something. So this is my mail ID. If you have further queries, you may send your queries this mail ID. And thanks for your patience. And sir, I think I have completed to local. Yeah, exactly completed.
Namaskar, sir. Are you there, sir?
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, for your detailed view of your mechatronics and also with live examples, live videos also. Thank you so much for your sparing valuable time also on this fine Sunday. So,
Can I say something?
Any doubts?
Can I say
Anybody
something?
have any queries? Yes, Narsarao garu cheppandi. Yeah, yes.
Muthurama,
Yes, sir.
sir, one thing what I want to say is that first of all, your lecture is a very good lecture. Taken us for
Thank you, sir.
total course in 1 hour.
Yes.
Only thing is what I want to comment is not on your lecture on the subject. Some 30 years back, some universities used it to MSc Tech applied physics in India.
Yes, sir. Sorry, I am getting
some 20-30 years back, there used to be one MSc Tech applied physics course, a 3-year post-graduation course, which
Okay,
used
sir.
to run on the similar lines, but only from the science point of view, covering the instrumentation, optics, electronics, electrical, thin films, and all these things. Those days, that course was not appreciated, and it has taken this much of time for having a course on the product realization in total. Your lecture is more, mechatronics is supposed to be more toward the total product innovation, design, and realization.
Yes, sir.
Okay. But what I feel bad is it has taken so many years for
Okay.
India to realize the importance of system integration and product realization. Of course, at least now we have entered, we are happy with that. That's all.
Thanks.
Your lecture is very, very good.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your thanks.
Sir, I am A.K. Sangamkar. Thank you, sir, for an excellent lecture. I'm a retired scientist from DRDN. So we are a little bit familiar with the simulation, modeling, and mechatronics. So, but what I heard from you today, that we are most of the time we will simulate using Simulink in the model scene. Sorry, in the MATLAB, or hardware in loop simulation we do. But today you have given one more insight, that Simscape, which I am not aware, which is an excellent topic. There we don't need to have any mathematics knowledge. That is what you have tried to convey. Is it right, sir? The model will be applied.
Yeah, any software, their ultimate aim is to reduce the burdens for the users. So previously, as you said, in Simulink means we need to know the mathematical modeling of each and every physical system. We need to do that. Nowadays, they are reducing that burden also. They are itself developing the mathematical modeling. They are incorporated in the Simscape. Say for example, if a servo hydraulic cylinder means if you're using some hydraulics toolbox, directly I can take the cylinder. Previously, we need to know what are the equations which is needed to mark the cylinders. We need to write. I think to reduce the burden of the user only. Sir.
Okay, sir. And similar models are available for even when we are designing MEMS.
Yes, sir.
Are they available, sir?
For MEMS, I think mostly now people are moving for the COMSOL multiphysics.
Okay. Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Sir,
one
this-
question I would like to ask.
Yes, sir.
It is regarding this. You see, benchmarking, you have been telling that, and it is in fact correct also for all these standards and quality and other aspects. Mechanical hardware of the product and its life cycle is thoroughly checked in and put in as a specifications in quality and standards. Whereas this has considerably matured over hundreds of years, whereas electronics, which has evolved mostly around 1950s in the 20th century, middle of that, and has got lesser maturity time to make it a standardized. But we have standards. We have standards for benchmarking of any product, process, or technology. Second thing I would like to ask, for this kind of hardware loop simulation we do for electronic sensors and products. We also do for various technologies in the research and development and also in technology involvement. But can this hill simulation be there for tool making process of a product, whether it is a mechanical product or any other product?
Yeah. Only thing is that we need to know how to configure this. Actually, HIL is not invented for mechatronics engineers. They have invented for engineering. They are not invented for mechatronics, but mostly the mechatronics engineers, they are using it. Even I have seen some electrical background people in our institute itself. They are developing the solar, that the battery you can using the HIL itself. But thing is that we can make it. But only thing is that we need to know how to configure. If you know the trick behind how to configure the mechanical system, we can do the HIL simulation for any type of system, sir.
No, we have been doing for all electrical excitation inputs. Appropriate response coming into feedback, tapping to that, putting into the loop with certain factor in the feedback path, and then we run the hill mode simulation and get the result intended within the certain specified accuracy, whether it is adaptive system, whether it is a simulator approach for electronics or whatever sensors. Whether that is applicable for other benchmarks also, other systems. You have told that it is okay for mechatronics, obviously. It is there. My question is, can we do for thermal engineering? One thing. Like that for other engineering. Obviously, thermal engineering is part of mechanical engineering, but it has evolved more towards every systems. Whether we use electronic hardware chips and other things, thermal engineering is built in.
Exactly. Yeah. So far, the accuracy of that simulation is based on what is the model that they are going to configure. I don't think so. Thermal people, they are now using, but thing is they can use. They can use, but they are not using. I don't know why they are hesitating. But as you said, the accuracy is not only determined by our own system. We cannot say the HIL kit is giving 100% accuracy. Even they need to also upgrade because they are also a product. The HIL box itself a product. It should also be enhanced. So if you are feeling that my product is working well, but HIL is not giving a good accuracy, means even we can contact that R&D team itself. Whether the problem is happened with my system or else my system is not compatible with your kit, like that we can question them. I think for the purpose only nowadays the MATLAB, they are running the R&D team. We can directly contact them. What are the questions that we are having, we can throw them. But in my opinion, the thermal can be made, sir. I hope so.
Yeah, in fact, if you see Apple products like laptop and all, where they have now improved processor technology. So all the built-in, microprocessors or whatever we say, those processors are without any heat sink. M1 doesn't have heat sink, for example, whereas we have i3, i5, i7 of Intel chips. They need to have some thermal mechanism, otherwise they will trip out. They are also in hardware loop. The moment somehow it is beyond the control of the environment and temperature is high, even after the fan is rotating around the chip surface, the computer shuts down. Whereas we have certain technology now wherein just open loop, no hardware loop for thermal engineering, we can achieve the required operational life cycle without running a fan or kind of cooling mechanism.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Even I can suggest this idea to some
Sir, Sir Anupam Tiwari, I am. Sir, like this 3D printer, can we say that it is an example of mechatronics?
Yeah, it's an integration only, sir. But thing is that a pure 3D printer without artificial intelligence, anyway, you are doing reverse engineering also, no? You are incorporating some CAD. We can say it's a mechatronics, but I cannot say it's advanced mechatronics thing. We can say it's a basics mechatronics, sir.
But CNC machine, advanced CNC machine, can I say it is a mechatronics?
Exactly, we can do that. We can say.
Hello.
Yes.
Yeah, beautifully brought all the basic concepts. The blending of this mechanical engineering as electronic engineering for the systems which are existing now or systems which are going to come together. Because there is no mechanical system today without electronic, and there cannot be any electronic system without mechanical engineering integration. But what I want to do actually, specifically, I want to say a few words about mechatronic application and advances which are going to be used for now wherever large number of electromechanical systems or electronic mechanical systems are required. For example, the MIMO is coming in as a radar systems are concerned, or it is also coming for the so-called communication area. We need large number of switches, actuators, and other things for switching between the beams, this and that, and all those things, where the mechatronic is going to play a major role, because all those devices in the form of MIMO or in the form of what we can say MMIC, active MMIC is going to play a major role. So micro machining and micro electronic put together, that on the same chip, micro machining is possible, that we don't have to have a metal deposition, but we can deposit this one on a metal deposition on the semiconductors and try to do a micro machining and realize the mechanical system. So those systems are going to be a very, very small system which are required large number of phase array radars or in active aperture radars or active so-called antennas, phase array antennas and other things, both in the communication in this one. I think students should know that there is a lot of scope in this area for working, studying, and also looking for a so-called career ahead.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Sir, reconfiguration antenna, Bhatia sir, is an example of an antenna. Yes.
Good, sir. Good. Anupam sir, go ahead, sir. Anupam sir.
Sir, I said reconfiguration antenna nowadays is an example of mechatronics in antenna. Yeah, once we talk about a lot of switches, actuators, and other things, it is a so-called mechatronic system, no doubt about it. Because where the component itself is embedded with both the technologies together, and that become an electromechanical system, and when all the components of that nature, the overall system has to be so-called a mechatronic system.
Yes, sir.
Sir, any more questions, or shall we wind up the webinar session, sir? Sir, thank you very
Thank you,
much.
sir.
Sir.
That was the vote of thanks, sir. Sitaram.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. We should be very grateful to Muthu Ramalingam, sir, for having come forward and have a session on mechatronics. This was one of the requests that was made by the registrar of the Osmania University, and we could able to fulfill it. The mechatronics is one of the very basic and core subject of new streams of discipline that have emerged over a period of time. The fact of the matter was, like, SRM used to be the crux of the mechatronics. Now Hyderabad, a couple of engineering colleges also have come up with mechatronics subject. I think it's one of the, as Sar said, Muthu Ramalingam sir has said, this is one of the core areas that probably could emerge in technology. I think I totally agree with you, sir. And I should also thank G. Ramesh sir for having part of today's webinar, and he has released the what you call the 6th version of our newsletter, the volume of 39. And also we should thank Niranjan Prasad, always very active member, and he also poses a lot of questions, and because of his huge knowledge that he possesses on various subjects. We should also thank Harjinder Singh sir. He's our the chairman and secretary also have applauded him for having the part of the Hyderabad Center. He has given 3 to 4 webinar sessions, and we also should thank Murli sir. He is our distinguished fellow, and he also given 1 session for Hyderabad Center. And we also have quite a few personalities here: Narasimha Rao sir, Dr. Veerbhadra Rao sir, Christopher John. Then we also have Sairam sir, Chandana Sairam sir. Then B. Venkateshulu is one of our co-opted member. We also have Danan sir, the co-opted member. We have Ranganadam sir, N.S. Murthy Sharma sir, Narsimachari, A.P. Raju, Narsimlu Sribacha. Sir, at the end of it, we also should thank for all the participants for having part of this, and we also should be little sorry for Muthu Ramalingam sir for having a short presence of a very small number of presence of the audience, sir, because the examinations are now happening in both the universities of Telangana, sir, prominent universities of Telangana, both JNTU and Osmania University, sir. That's why we could not able to have the presence of more students. I think probably would come back to you, sir, when we have more presence of students and we try to take the higher version of mechatronics, sir. And thanks one and all for having part of this webinar session. And again, we'll meet again next week, sir. Ramalingam, sir, we are actually conducting these webinar sessions for almost 1 year, sir. This is our 58th of the series, 58th of the webinar series, sir. We would like to continue, sir. We will again seek your presence again to come back and have a webinar session over a period of time. Thank you one and all, and have a wonderful day and wonderful week to come. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you and good day.
Good day to all.
Thank you very much.
Already feedback link is posted, sir. Please fill the feedback link to get the certificates.